One Zambia, one nation. This is the TV2 main evening news at 18 hours. I'm David Mwanza. We take a look at the headlines. Government has allowed the export of up to 48,000 metric tons of last year's maize harvest to Zimbabwe, Malawi and Mozambique. UPND Vice President for Politics, Canisius Banda, has resigned from the opposition political party. And Vice President Inongewina says government is proud of the achievements of women in various sports disciplines. And now the details. Government has allowed the export of up to 48,000 metric tons of last year's maize harvest to Zimbabwe, Malawi and Mozambique. The exports will help mitigate hunger in the Southern African region necessitated by drought. Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU National Coordinator Patrick Kangwa has announced this today, saying this follows a $2.4 billion SADC appeal for human assistance. Mr. Kangwa was speaking at the flagging off ceremony for the humanitarian relief consignment for the three countries by the World Food Programme WFP in Lusaka today.
The Southern African region is facing one of the most severe droughts, which has resulted in a major food crisis. The situation is dire in Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Malawi, where 13 million people are facing hunger. But amid talk of a deepening food crisis in the region, Zambia is the only country that has managed to produce enough food for consumption. Regional body SADC has made a $2.4 billion SADC appeal for human assistance. And Zambia has answered that call by agreeing to export 48,000 metric tons of maize from last year's harvest to Zimbabwe, Malawi and Mozambique on humanitarian grounds. National Coordinator of the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, Patrick Kangwa, explains why government has taken this step.
The government of Zambia cannot fold its arms in the event of one of its neighbors being hit by disaster. Therefore, our gesture today is in line with the international and regional humanitarian assistance undertakings. As a follow-up to the SADC declaration, the government of the Republic of Zambia, through His Excellency the President, Mr. Edgar Chagwa, has allowed the exportation of humanitarian relief items to the government of the Republic of Malawi, Zimbabwe and Mozambique in order to render support to the affected populations by the World Food Programme.
The World Food Programme is helping to coordinate the Zambian humanitarian relief to the SADC region and is happy that Zambia has responded to the call to help its neighbors.
Credit is due first and foremost to the Zambian farmers for their hard work, and secondly to the government of Zambia for its stewardship of the agriculture sector. Together, farmers, local farmers and government have established this country as a grain basket of Southern Africa and currently the only country in the region with a maize surplus.
Zambia's food bumper harvest and the exportation of relief maize to neighboring countries clearly demonstrates that Zambia has the potential to become the food basket of the region. With volatile metal prices adversely affecting the Zambian economy, it is the agriculture sector that holds real hope for economic prosperity. But this can only be actualized by adopting proper policies and embracing prudent management of the agriculture sector. Michael Kaumba, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Fisheries and Livestock Permanent Secretary David Shamulenge says institutions under the ministry must contribute to the Treasury as opposed to just waiting for government funding. Dr. Shamulenge says institutions such as animal breeding centers and farmer training centers have potential to generate income and sustain themselves. He has explained that this will relieve pressure on the Treasury to save resources for other competing needs. Dr. Shamulenge was speaking when he paid an impromptu visit at the Golden Valley Agricultural Research Trust Livestock Development Center in Choma, Southern Province. And Dr. Shamulenge says his ministry is now revamping research activities that will address challenges faced in the livestock sector. Preparations for the official opening of the first sitting of the 12th National Assembly have advanced. A ZNBC news crew that went to Parliament buildings today found Defence Forces preparing their drill. Officers from the State House, Cabinet and National Assembly were seen checking on various aspects of the preparations for this Friday's event. Several dance troupes that will provide entertainment on that day were also seen perfecting their drills. President Edgar Lungu is expected to open the 12th National Assembly, which is the first to have an increased number of members of Parliament of 158. This follows the amendment of the Constitution of Zambia. Ingo Tumwanza gives us the details in this report.
A presidential motorcade being escorted into Parliament grounds. This signifies heightened preparations for the official opening of the first session of the 12th National Assembly. Here at Parliament buildings, the defense and security wings do not want to leave anything to chance. This is why they are perfecting their drills for that important day. Officials from State House, Parliament and Cabinet were also in attendance. To ensure that no detail was left out, someone had to stand in for the president of the presidential dais and also inspected the rehearsal guard of honor mounted by Zambia Army. Those that will be providing entertainment were also in attendance to perfect their dancing moves. President Edgar Lungu is on Friday expected to make major pronouncements that will propel development in the next 5 years. Ingo Tumwanza, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Now, the newly elected city and municipal mayors and council chairpersons will only function as political heads of the local authorities. The executive functions of the councils will, however, be performed by the town clerks and council secretaries. Local Government Permanent Secretary Amos Malupenga has clarified this in a circular dated September 20, 2016 and addressed to all mayors and council chairpersons. Mr. Malupenga has explained that the mayors and council chairpersons will now serve in a full-time capacity following the amendment of the Constitution. Their functions will include presiding over all council meetings and ceremonial events, among other duties. Meno Kitwe lawyer William Nyirenda has clarified that the amended Constitution has not provided for an executive mayor. Mr. Nyirenda, who is also a former mayor of Kitwe, says the Constitution only provides for a mayor because an executive mayor is one who has too much power to control all functions of the local authority. Home Affairs Permanent Secretary Chileshe Mlenga says government is committed to reviving the Public Order Act so that it satisfies all stakeholders. Dr. Mlenga, however, says for a long time there have been no submissions made by stakeholders in the review process. He has explained this, the revision of the Act has the full backing of President Edgar Lungu, adding that it remains top on the priorities of the newly appointed Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo. Dr. Mlenga was speaking to TV2 News in an interview.
Is committed to carrying out the instruction which was given by His Excellency the President to make sure that we review the Public Order Act and satisfy the demands of the stakeholders. But so far we have had no submissions. And the most important thing to remember is that we've got to balance the needs of the security and the needs of the freedoms that we enjoy.
President Edgar Lungu has described former Israeli President Shimon Peres, who has died, as a beacon of hope for the Middle East nation. Mr. Lungu explained that Mr. Peres was resilient in his attempts to attain sustainable peace and security in the Middle East. The president has said this was demonstrated in the Nobel Peace Prize that Mr. Peres was awarded for his efforts to conclude the Oslo Peace Accords. This is contained in President Edgar Lungu's message of condolence to Israeli President Reuven Rivlin following the death of Mr. Peres, who also served as Prime Minister for his country. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has invited President Lungu for a state visit to that country. This is according to a statement available to TV2 News today by President Lungu's Special Assistant for Press and Public Relations, Amos Chanda. Mr. Chanda has explained that Mr. Netanyahu made the invitation early this year with the intention of hosting President Lungu in Jerusalem at the earliest possible time. He has added that the Prime Minister says he wants to discuss many ways to expand cooperation between Zambia and Israel. We'll now take our first commercial break, and still ahead, Namibia driver burnt to ashes in an accident at Nega Nega turnoff in Southern Province. Also coming up, Zicta to disconnect all unregistered SIM cards by October 30, 2016. Stay with us. The lorry he was driving caught fire after colliding head-on with another lorry at Nega Nega turnoff on the Mazabuka-Lusaka Road in Southern Province. The accident happened today in the morning around 06 hours. This happened after the driver of the Volvo lorry, registration number N693S from the south, failed to keep to its lane, therefore hitting the oncoming lorry, registration number 1832WB, which was being driven by the deceased. Southern Province Deputy Commissioner of Police, Kashif Mpande, has confirmed, saying the deceased has been identified as Willie Swart, aged 22. Mr. Mpande has further identified the driver of the other lorry as Moses, also a Namibian, who only sustained injuries after the accident but fled the scene. The two lorries caught fire after colliding, and a 39-year-old male Congolese national has died after a drinking spree in Mwense, Luapula Province. Provincial Deputy Commissioner of Police Patrick Billy has confirmed the incident, which happened yesterday around 16 hours, and named the deceased as Chabi Kalumba of Chalwe Village in Chief Chisamamba's area in Kasenga District, the Democratic Republic of Congo. The deceased is believed to have been in the company of friends when he crossed over into Zambia, where they started drinking a local alcohol commonly known as Kantobo. A man believed to be in his 20s was this morning found dead on Manenekela Road in Lusaka's Woodlands residential area just behind the University Teaching Hospital, UTH. The body of the unidentified man had several bruises on the hands and legs, and eyewitnesses told a TV2 news crew, which rushed to the scene, that the body was discovered around 06 hours. Details in this report.
Was a blue plastic basin with a few belongings in it. This man, believed to be in his 20s, is suspected to have been admitted at the University Teaching Hospital earlier. This is at least according to this document found in his back pocket. Several bruises could be seen on his body, but what cannot be confirmed yet is whether the name on this document matches the man lying lifeless here. The cause of his death has not yet been established. Many eyewitnesses tell me that they first saw the body around 06 hours.
I was going to my mom's shop early in the morning today. We just found this person here lying down. We don't know the problem, but we have been told that he was admitted at the hospital UTH.
Police officers that rushed to the crime scene have instituted investigations into the matter.
This morning, we picked up an identified body along Manenekela Road in Woodlands area. The body was found with bruises on the legs. Unfortunately, no one has come forward to identify the body. Therefore, we are appealing to members of the public missing any relatives to come and assist us identify the body.
Management at the University Teaching Hospital is yet to confirm whether or not this man was admitted to hospital. The body of the deceased is lying in the UTH mortuary awaiting post-mortem. Lufola Nkowani, TV2 News in Lusaka.
UPND Vice President for Administration Geoffrey Mwamba has pleaded not guilty to one count of threatening violence against President Edgar Lungu. Mr. Mwamba took fresh plea before Lusaka Magistrate Tandose Chabala. This was after Magistrate Jennifer Bwalia had earlier recused herself from handling the case. In this matter, Mr. Mwamba is alleged to have uttered a statement that he will go for President Edgar Lungu's throat. Hector Simfukwe gives us the details.
Lusaka Magistrate Jennifer Bwalia has recused herself from handling a case in which UPND Vice President Geoffrey Bwalia Mwamba is accused of threatening violence on President Edgar Lungu. In this matter, Mr. Mwamba is accused of having uttered a statement saying he will go for the president's throat. When the matter came up, Lusaka Magistrate Jennifer Bwalia recused herself from handling the matter because she has been transferred to Chipata. She said it would be desirable for a magistrate who is based in Lusaka to handle the case, saying the accused will not suffer any prejudice because trial has not yet started. The matter was referred back to Lusaka Magistrate Mwaka Mikalire, who allocated it to Magistrate Tandose Chabala. Later, UPND Vice President Geoffrey Mwamba pleaded not guilty to the offense. The matter has since been adjourned to the 28th of November for commencement of trial. Earlier, the state complained to the court that the case has delayed because Mr. Mwamba has been asking for adjournments. The state prosecutor said last time Mr. Mwamba was addressing a press briefing, despite telling the court that he was not feeling well. He further argued that on Tuesday this week, Mr. Mwamba addressed the media, despite asking the court today to adjourn the matter on account that he is not feeling well. But defense lawyer Jack Mwimbu argued to the contrary, saying apart from not feeling well, Mr. Mwamba needed to wait for his lawyers who are attending to the local government elections petition. Hector Simfukwe, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, UPND Vice President for Politics, Canisius Banda, has resigned from the opposition political party. Dr. Banda says he feels rejected, adding that circumstances have pushed him away from the party he served sincerely with utmost dedication. He has explained that the UPND has failed to win because of lack of judgment of the top leadership, despite the support of the general membership. Dr. Banda has further said he will not join any political party for now. In other news, the Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, says October 30, 2016 is the deadline for registration of SIM cards. ZICTA Public Relations Officer Edward Mulenga says all unregistered SIM cards will be disconnected by then. Mr. Mulenga has explained that the registration exercise is going on well, and he has since dispelled allegations that some SIM cards have already been disconnected. Meanwhile, Mr. Mlenga says ZICTA will continue to tighten its watchdog role over companies that violate consumer protection rights. He was speaking today when he featured on TV2's Morning Live program during the News and Current Affairs segment. We'll take yet another commercial break. We have sports news coming up after that. And now in sports news, Vice President Inonge Wina says government is proud of the achievements of women in various sports disciplines. The Vice President has explained that this is an indication that government's policy on gender inclusiveness in sports is yielding results. She was speaking today in Lusaka when she received a trophy won by the national netball team at the 2016 Mission Foods Nations tournament held in Singapore. The Vice President also explained that President Edgar Lungu and his government will continue to provide opportunities to increase women and girls' participation in sports.
An indication that government policy on gender inclusiveness in Zambia is yielding the desired results, as women are coming on board to embrace and participate in the sport of their choice. And for you, Minister Mawere, the President, I think the day before yesterday, explained to us that sports in Zambia is not only football, but there are other areas of sport that we need to concentrate on. Government, through the able leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, will continue to provide opportunities that increase women's and girls' participation in sport. I wish to sincerely thank all the sponsors that made it possible for our Zambia national netball team to participate in the 2016 Mission Foods Nations Cup.
And Netball Association of Zambia President Gertrude Mukumi has appealed to government to increase funding to the National Sports Council of Zambia. Still in sports news, the Zambia boys and girls teams have both won silver medals at the Under-20 International Handball Federation Zone 6 tournament in South Africa. The two teams have lost their final matches, both played against the eventual tournament winners, Mozambique. The girls' team narrowly lost on a score of 25-21, while the boys' team was also handed a loss via a 34-22 scoreline. The matches were played today at the Orlando East Sports Hall in Johannesburg. This is according to a statement available to TV2 News today in Lusaka by Zambia's High Commissioner to South Africa, Emmanuel Mwamba. And now to end the news, we take a look at the headlines once again. Government has allowed the export of up to 48,000 metric tons of last year's maize harvest to Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Malawi. The exports will help mitigate hunger in the southern African region necessitated by droughts. UPND Vice President for Politics Canisius Banda has resigned from the opposition political party. Dr. Banda says he feels rejected, adding that circumstances have pushed him away from the party he served sincerely with utmost dedication. And finally, Vice President Inonge Wina says government is proud of the achievements of women in various sports disciplines. The Vice President has explained that this is an indication that government's policy on gender inclusiveness in sports is yielding results. That's our news at 18 hours. Join us for another bulletin coming your way at 20 hours. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm David Mwanza. Pleasant viewing.